So let's kind of get started. We're going to start simply first by the different annuities out there, okay? So if you're somebody who hasn't sold an annuity or you haven't sold one in a while, these first couple slides are going to be just a kind of refresher. Okay, what are the different type of annuities out there? You've got fixed, variable, you have indexed. Fixed is just a fixed rate of return. Okay, a variable is based on market. We don't dabble in that at all. And then indexed is kind of where we kind of sit. Okay, based on market growth, but you don't lose. Okay. Obviously, you can see I have a ton of words on here. I'm not going to read everything to you. I basically copied and pasted what a fixed, variable, and indexed annuity, what's the full definition. Okay, so another option is the paying structure. You can do single premium or you can do flexible, which is also called a flow. There are some annuities out there that do a combination of both. You can do a single premium initially, and then you could add more later, okay? Not all. You got to make sure because, like, for example, Athene, they're pretty much strictly single premium. My wife sent me a picture of my daughter. That's fun. Okay. Like I said, Athene is pretty much single premium. National Life is a combination of both. I know their newer ones, I believe, are single premium, but I do have a couple that are flow. Anko's got some flow. And F&G is a combination, okay? So you've got to be careful of what you pick. Now, we're big in IUL, so if they want to put more money, that's usually where we go first, and that's where I want to go first. But, there are some business owners that they have an IRA, they want to contribute to it to get the benefits. So there are different options out there on how to add more money to it. Different payouts, single life, joint survivor, and annuitized. These are the ones we see the most. Or the ones that are chosen the most. Single life is one person. It's going to pay out to that person only. And when that person passes away, if there's any money left over, it's going to go to the beneficiary. A joint survivor is two people. So the money only goes to the beneficiary once the second person has passed. Okay, and then annuitized is where I have to annuitize to get an income. Some carriers do that. American National is one. But what happens is when I pass away, even if there's money left over, the beneficiary keeps what's left over. Okay, or the carrier. Geez, man, my mind's going a million miles per hour right now. The carrier keeps what's left. So we try to avoid carriers that annuitize only. Like I said, American National, they do that, but there are some reasons why we would use American National. So I'm not saying we avoid them. But if your client's older, maybe we do avoid them for that time. Or if they're not going to take an income, then maybe we can go with them. And we'll talk about that as we keep going. Surrenders, the simple thing to know is pretty much all annuities have surrenders, okay? And for y'all that do life, you know that when somebody cancels their IUL, there's surrenders in that as well. Same thing with the annuities, and it can vary from 3 to 10 years. It could even actually go up to 15 years. We usually try to avoid those. We want to keep it 10 years or less. But it usually depends on what the guarantee period is. So, for example, the Marquee 8 had an 8-year surrender. Everything was 8 years for the Marquee 8. It was you've got the roll-up for 8 years, you got to surrender for 8 years, and so you have to make sure you're aware of that. If you have a MYGA, a multi-year guaranteed annuity for 5 years, the surrender is a 5-year surrender period, and usually those surrenders, it will go like 5 years the first year, 5% the first year, 4%, then 3, then 2, then 1. National Life's new ones kind of go 9, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then to 0. So you just have to be aware of that, and the client needs to know that there are surrenders when they get into an annuity policy or annuity contract. Okay, so there are two different annuities that we don't really spend a lot of time in, but you need to know and be aware of them. The first one's a single premium, a SPIA. Immediate annuity. It's basically where you get the client gets the money right away. Okay. Payments begin immediately, but you must annuitize after the income, which is why we don't spend a lot of time with SPIAs. Athene has a great product, and we're going to talk about it today, that allows you to take an income in the first year or to take out money within the first year. So instead of a SPIA, that's probably the route I'd go, and we'll talk about that. Excuse me. Another one is a MYGA, a multi-year guaranteed annuity. Let's put it very simply. It's like a CD, but the rate is usually a little bit higher. It's a rate that's guaranteed for a certain amount of time, whether it's 5 years or 3 years or 7 years. Anko's MYGA goes anywhere from 3 to 10 years. Now, they don't offer all of them at one time. They usually will say, we'll offer these 3 at a time. I think right now it's like 5, 7, and 10, maybe 5, 7, 9, something like that. But again, they're going to guarantee you a rate for a certain amount of time. So if you have a client with CD money, that's a great place to put them into a MYGA. Rates can fluctuate. We'll talk a little bit about rates. Like F&G's MYGA has the highest rate that I could find right now, and the rate is only 2.9 for 9 years or 7 years, I'm sorry. So, I mean, roughly 3%, that's better than a CD. Is it the best out there? Probably not, but again, F&G is a strong company, and we want to make sure we're doing things with strong companies so that way our clients' money is safe. So let's talk about the difference between income and growth, because that is one area where a lot of agents, especially newer agents, get confused. They'll see a bonus of 15%, but they don't realize that that bonus is only on the income side, not on the growth side. And so when you have a policy or a contract annuity that has a guaranteed income, you have 2 different buckets. One bucket is over here on the left, and I am going to so you have this bucket, the income bucket, and then you have the growth bucket, okay? So the income bucket is like a pension, guaranteed lifetime income, where your client's going to get money for as long as they live until they pass away. The growth side is based on the interest rate. What is the market doing, okay? What happens is the income side is called a roll-up rate. So when you see a roll-up rate of 8%, it's going to roll up at 8% simple interest, On the growth side, it's all based on an interest rate. It's based on what the market does. So your money, although it's one account, is basically doing 2 functions. Your 100K is getting a roll-up, and your 100K is making an interest. So if that roll-up is 10%, you make $10,000, and it's 10% for a certain amount of time. Like I said, a Marquee 8 back in the day was for 8 years. The Ascent Pro 10 bonus with Athene is 10% for 10 years, and then it's 5% for the next 10 years. So it's just going to do 10% simple every single year, okay? While at the same time, your 100K is making an interest, whatever the market's doing. So if the market goes 5, you make 5. Market goes 3, you get 3. Market goes 8, you get 8. All up to a certain cap, all right? But I'm not going to focus right now on the cap. So what happens is, for a lot of carriers, if you pass away, your family will get this, not this. Not all carriers, okay? We'll talk about here in a second when I get into carrier specific how your client's beneficiaries can get this amount. But if you pass away, it's based on the 116. But if you take an income, it's based on the 130, okay? So I know that can be a little confusing. Just whenever you have an income product, you need to know it's working 2 separate ways, income side and growth side. Pass away is usually based on growth. Income is usually based on roll-up. And depending on how you access your money will determine what your actual amount is. Okay, you have to be aware also that there's some products that have bonuses, but you have to make sure is it a income-based bonus or is it a interest bonus or an accumulation bonus? You have to be careful because Athene has a bonus for both sides. They have, I believe it's 3% on the growth, and then on the income side, I believe it's 5. Don't quote me. I believe it's 5. And so again, you have to make sure that just because it says we have a 15% bonus, is that on the interest or is that on the income? You've got to be very aware of that, okay? If you don't have an income product, just take that side away and that's what you're looking at. You're only looking at the growth side and it becomes very simplistic. It's just whatever the market does, that's what you get, okay? Now, so before I move on, does anybody have a question about this? Because I get a lot of I don't want you to get in trouble by going to your client and saying, hey, I've got an 8% bonus, when in reality that 8% bonus is only on the income. Because that, although it's partially true, it's not fully true. They can't get that 8% and then expect to leave next year with that extra 8%, okay? All right, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. You can unmute yourself. But let's keep moving on. All right, so there's a few questions I always ask anybody that wants to do a rollover, okay? And this will help you determine where you want to go, what annuity, what carrier you want to pick. The first one is how long until you want your money, or how long till you need your money. Maybe that's a more important way to put it. Is it 10 years or less, or 11 years or more? A lot of carriers and a lot of products follow that 10-year mark, okay? So what I mean is they'll build their product to within under 10 years to work the best, or they'll build their product with 10 years or more to work the best. And I break it down for you. I'm going to show you a cheat sheet at the end of this that can help you, guide you on what products to select. But you need to know, is it 10 years or less, 11 years or more? And then what do you want your money to do? Do you want it for a pension income? Okay, do you want guaranteed income? Okay, remember we talked about at the conference paychecks and playchecks. Same concept. If they don't have a pension, that might be important to them. This can be their pension, okay? If they have a pension, then this can be their play money. Do they need that income stream? Do they need or do they want that guaranteed income? Okay, another question is, do you want it for accumulation? Because a lot of times when you have an income product, you give up accumulation. Not all products, okay? Again, there's a lot out there. So a lot of times if you want really good income, you give up the interest. If you want really good interest, you give up the income, and that's important. And are you looking to pass on the money? There's some products that are best designed to pass on that wealth to somebody else. Okay, and we're going to discuss that too. And then, do you want flow or single premium? Again, a lot of times we're doing a rollover, and then we're getting them an IUL, or we're getting something else to help build their cash accumulation. But again, depending on the client, they might want, you could have a teacher client that they want their 403B because they want that write-off, and that's fine. We can try to get them the IUL and get them the 403B at the same time. Okay, you've got business owners that need the IRA for the write-off. There's a lot of different options out there, and so you want to make sure that whatever you do, if it's single premium and that's it, you just make sure they understand, like, hey, one premium and you can't add anything more to it. Okay. All right, so let's get into the carrier specific. 9:30, perfect. Okay, we're only going to talk about these four carriers: National Life, F&G, American National, and Athene. Again, I'm not going to go into every single one. National Life is the only one where I'm going to talk about all 6 of them. F&G, I'm only going to talk about their top 2. Athene, I'm going to talk about their #1 product, and then another one that I like for one specific reason. We'll see that here in a second. And then American National, I'm not going to get into any of the details because, again, I usually try to stay away from it because of the annuitization, but we will address their MIGA and we'll address their Asia Plus, okay, because their caps are pretty competitive. It's just I worry about the income side of it or the annuitization side of it. All right, so with National Life, you have these 6, okay? These are all fixed index annuities, okay? So fit, focus growth, focus income, horizon growth, horizon income, secure growth, select income. They make it very easy for you. If your client wants growth, you need to pick one of the 3 that says growth. If your client wants income, you need to pick one of the 3 that says income, okay? It just now depends on their age and when they want to access their money and things like that. So let's look at the focus first. So focus growth. Anybody from age 0 to 75, so it's going to fit most people. It's going to be used for 10 years or less. Okay, if they want to retire in 15 years, I'm probably not going this route. Now, again, this is a growth product. It's not an income product. There's no guaranteed lifetime income rider. It's single premium, and the minimum is $50K. That is, I'll be honest, that is one thing about the new National Life products is that the minimums went up. Their minimums used to be $10K. I think in Texas it actually was $5 for a couple of their products, but now it's $50. There's nothing I can do about it. If your client only has $12,000, we're going to have to look somewhere else. There are 2 products with National Life that do go down to that $10,000. Focus growth and focus income and horizon growth and horizon income are not that way. But one thing about the focus growth is it does have a rate booster. So you're seeing a lot of that now with these newer products. A rate booster is basically where your client can pay extra, okay, to have a higher interest rate or a higher cap, excuse me. Let me rephrase that because the interest rate's not correct. The higher cap or a higher par rate, okay? And so let me discard. I actually have it open right here. All right, so can everybody see this right here? Let me make sure y'all can. Yes, you can. Okay, perfect. So here's the focus growth, right? 2% standard, but if they pay the rate booster, they get 3.8 as their cap. Over here it's 1 for the monthly. Over here it's 1.95. Over here it's a 55% par for the global balance, but if they want the rate booster, 100. So you see, all they're doing is paying for more potential. That's what they're paying for. And that rate booster costs 1%. So I thought with the GLEAR, okay, it's usually 0.9 or 1, or it's usually around 0.9 to 1%, depending on carrier. They don't have a GLEAR with this product. So if they're willing to give up 1%, they can earn a higher interest. All right, that's simply what the rate booster is. So again, that could be appealing to your client. They're not paying for anything else. There's no other fees attached to it. So if they just want to roll their money over into it and let it go, they totally can. But if they're willing and they want to earn a little bit more, or potential to earn a little bit more, you can have the rate booster. Again, it's a growth product, and it has also what's called a legacy death benefit option that also charges 1%. Okay, so what is it? How does that work? Your beneficiary has the option to choose if they how they want their death benefit. They can either get the payments over 5 years, which is 100% of the benefit calculation base. What is that? The interesting thing about the focus growth is it works both ways. All right, even though you can't get an income, you can earn a higher rate with the focus growth on the benefit calculation base, which is usually based on income, but it's for your beneficiaries. That's it. It's not for you. Okay, so my client can say, look, give me a one-time payment, which is going to be greater of 80% of the benefit calculation base or the accumulation value, okay, whichever's greater, or they can get the full benefit base, okay, 100% of it through 5 annual payments, 20 quarterly payments, or 60 monthly payments. So basically over 5 years. And those of y'all familiar with National Life's, like the Marquee 8, had the death benefit rider, and the way it worked is the exact same way it worked here, is where if your client died, your beneficiary had the option of getting the full lump sum now, as much as they could, or they could get more money over 5 years. They took that same concept and brought it here, but now they're charging 1% for it. Okay, but that's kind of what the legacy death benefit rider is. It does not come with the growth product now. You've got to pay for it 1% extra. So again, if they decide, okay, I don't want the rate booster, I want to pass this money on, at the end of the day, the beneficiary is going to decide how they want to pay it out. Okay, they'll decide I'll take the full amount, or I'll take it over 5 years. The client, the annuitant, won't decide that. They might be willing to add that instead. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the focus income. Different concept now. It's designed for income, age 45 to 85. Why? Because they're not going to give a 20-year-old income. They're just not going to do it. So they got to be 45 to 85. 10 years or less until needed. So the focus is designed, again, either one for 10 years or less. It's also senior premium, 50K. It has the rate booster. It has the GLEAR for 1%. Okay. And if you're going to do the focus income, you have to select the GLEAR. You can't select this product and not have the GLEAR. So they're going to be paying for that no matter what. But there's 2 GLEAR options. They can do a standard GLEAR, which guess what? Costs another 1%. Oh, there it is. Okay. Where they can get an extra 15% added if they pay an extra 1% annual fee, or they can just do their regular GLEAR. No extra 15%, and there's no cost. So they're going to get a GLEAR either way. But if they want an extra 15% right before they select an income, they can have the standard GLEAR or the no charge. And it rolls up at a 5% simple interest rate for both riders. Just again, if I have 100K and I make 5% simple, I'm going to have $5,000. Every year I'm going to make $5,000. Okay. So These are the two of the newer ones that have come out. Same with the next one, Horizon Growth and Horizon Income. Okay, and notice this is going to be very similar, but this is going to be designed for 11 years or more. Okay, so kind of put it this way, focus. I need to narrow my focus down to to a few years. Horizon, what does horizon usually mean? It usually means the future and moving on, looking out into the distance, and that's kind of what the horizon is designed for. It's single premium, 50K, it has the rate booster, it's a growth product. The legacy death benefit option is 1%, but notice when we come back here to the rates, that's not it. So here's focus growth, 2, but notice horizon is 3. So a lot of times what you'll see is when a product is designed for later use, they get more rates. They get higher pars and higher caps. Okay, the rate booster is 4.9, almost 5%. If you want the standard monthly, 1.5, while the focus is 1. So again, focus under 10 years, they're just going to give you less because they're probably going to access their money within those 10 years. Notice 80% standard, 125 rate, 80%, 125. So again, it depends on when they want it. If they're under 10 years, that's when they need their money. Focus growth is the way to go. Now, that doesn't mean they can't get the horizon growth. They can. It's just not designed to perform optimally at that time, okay? It's designed to perform the best past 10 years. All right, so let's come back here. Okay. It does have the legacy death benefit option as well for 1% annual fee. Now we have the Fit Horizon Income, again, designed for income. 35 to 75 is the age, 11 years or more, single premium, 50K minimum, rate booster, the GLEAR, but it has 2 different GLEAR options than the Focus Income does. It has a max bonus and a split bonus. One reason I really like the Horizon Growth is that the split bonus, this one right here, of course you wanted to go away. Why wouldn't you? Come on. There you are. All right, there we go. Okay, the split bonus is designed for both income and accumulation. That's pretty big because there's not many products out there that focus on both, okay? Usually when you had to talk to a client, it was like, what do you want? Do you want accumulation or do you want income? And the client was like, I want both. And that's, you just had to tell them, that's tough to do. I can't really do both because usually you give up something. With the Horizon Income, you can do both, okay? So the max bonus is for income only. The split is for income and growth, okay? So how does it work? With the split, you get a 5% accumulation bonus. With the max, you don't. But the activation bonus, depending on when you use it, gets greater the longer we go. So again, why am I using Horizon Income? Let's say they get this annuity at 40, and they don't select income or they don't take an income until 21. They will get a 200% or 175% bonus added to their income base. So let's just say their income base was $500,000. 200% bonus is what? $1 million, something like that? Nobody's shaking their head, so I'm hoping I'm right. If I'm right, let's just say it's more, okay? So their income is going to be based on 200% more. So the longer they wait, the bigger their bonus is. With, again, the split bonus, you get the 5% up front, but you don't get as much on the back end. You still get a lot, but not as much, okay? So now you can go to your client and be like, look, do you want income, accumulation, or do you want both? And if they want both, this is the way to go. But again, they have to, it's designed for past 10 years. Notice you can see within 10 years, I mean, it's still solid. But look at the jump, and I just wrote over it. The jump from 6 to 10 years to 11 to 15 years is an extra 20%. The jump from year 1 to 10 is only 25%. That's a huge jump to wait until we get past 10 years. So again, that's why we would use that past 10 years, okay? Now the last two are the oldest of their fit products. You have Secure Growth and Select Income. Notice the Secure Growth is 0 to 80, 11 years or more until needed, flexible premium, $5,000 minimum or $100 a month. So if they don't have $5,000, they could do $100 a month for the first year and get this, and it's designed for growth. So again, the other two are 50 minimum. If they don't have 50K, you can only go with these two options. With the select income, 25 to 75, it's 11 years or more. Flexible premium, again, same minimum. It does have a GLEAR of 1%, but it has an activation bonus when you activate the GLEAR. Depending on when you activate the GLEAR will depend on your bonus. Very similar to what we just saw. But notice what happens in the first 2 to 9 years. Nothing. It's just whatever your account is. Why? That's why it's 11 years or more. Because then in these years past, you get a higher activation bonus. Basically, it's taking your income base, again, that's the pension side, and it's giving it an extra 125% or 150%, 175%, okay? All right, that's National Life. Very basic National Life. Over time, I'm working on webinars specifically for each of these products, but in more detail. Because again, a lot of these products have some bonuses, they have different rates, they have different caps, and there's not enough time in the day right now to go over this, okay? To go over all of that in all those details. I mean, we're already at 9:40 and I still have 3 carriers left. But any questions on National Life? Great, they got a great portfolio. Great combo, great portfolio. It just kind of depends on what your client wants. All right, so let's talk about F&G.
Kobe.
They have more. Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick on, I might have missed it on the Fit Horizon income. To get that other bonus, is there a 1% fee for that as well?
You're talking about the max bonus or split bonus? It's the GLEAR. This is the GLEAR. Yeah. So So yeah, you got to pay 1% for the GLEAR, and when you activate your GLEAR, you determine which one you want, max or split.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. So you're going to pay. Yeah. I mean, and again, this is a GLEAR product, so you have to have the GLEAR. So at that point, you're just going to decide which one you want. Yeah. Great question.
You got it.
Okay. All righty. So F&G, new carrier. We've talked about them. We've done some life stuff. The 3 of us, we have met with F&G, and we've learned more about their annuities. They've had some webinars, so we're getting familiar. They have more than this. They have like 10 or 11 different annuities, but these are the top. I won't say the top 5, but these are 5 of the more popular or common ones. The top 2 that we're going to talk about are the Accumulator Plus and the Accelerator Plus. Those are the only 2 we're going to talk about. Those are their #1 products for growth and income, and we'll see that here in a second. But the Power Accumulator is another growth product. The Safe Income Plus is a good income product. And the Guaranteed Platinum is their MYGA for 3, 5, or 7 years. And again, I think their 3-year rate, actually, I have the rates right here because, again, I pulled them up. If we come down here, here's their MYGA rates. 2.1 for a 3, 2.7 for 5, 2.9 for a 7, okay? Anko, I think their max, Anko's max is 2.5, and that's for a 10-year MYGA, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Oh, you know what? Actually, I have Anko's rates right here. You know what? They might not. Oh, here we go. So, yeah, here you go. 10-year MYGA. If you have $250,000 or more, you get 2.55. If you don't have $250,000, you only have under 100, it's 2.3 or 2.2. So you can kind of see F&G's got a little bit better rates when it comes to their MYGA. That's the only thing I wanted to point out with their MYGA. It's got probably the highest rate I've found so far. At least it's the highest rate within these 4 carriers. I'll put it that way. So let's get back into the top 2. Okay, the Accumulator Plus 7 and 10. It's their F&G's #1 growth solution, okay? Age 18 to 85. It's designed for 10 years or less because the 7 and 10 determine the surrender period, okay? Remember we talked about Marquee 8, designed for 8 years. This is the same concept, but it's either for 7 years or for 10 years. It is flexible premium, okay? The minimum is at least $10,000. It has also a rate booster, very similar to National Life, but their fee is 1.25%, okay? And we'll look at their fees here in a minute. And it uses a Barclays Trailblazer, which is very unique to F&G. F&G has some good relationships with different companies that allow them to have higher caps and higher pars. And I know that if you were on the F&G webinar, they talked about it. So I'm not going to get into it. but that's what makes it appealing. It's not just the S&P. They have other strategies besides the S&P. Now, National Life, their newer products have new strategies too. So I'm not saying National Life or F&G one is better than the other. It really depends on the client. I don't think I have any more notes on that side. Yeah, okay. We'll come back here in a second to those rates. The Accelerator is their number one income solution, and it's either 10 years or 14 years. Again, very simplistic, okay? Age 18 to 85, 10 years or more until needed, flexible premium, minimum 10K. They do have a vesting bonus on premium paid in year one. So if your client rolls over 100K, depending on which one they select, will determine what the bonus is. That also means if they put more money into it in year one, the new money gets the bonus as well. So it's all premium paid within the first year. And if it's the Accelerator plus 10, you get a 3% bonus if 75 and younger, or a 2.25 from 676 to 85. And then at 14, it's a 6% bonus. That vests over 10 years. So it doesn't mean the client can come in, get their 6% bonus, and then next year walk away. Okay, they have to stay within 10 years to get that full bonus. It does have a GLEAR, 1.15 annually, so a little bit higher than National Life. And again, it uses the Barclays Trailblazer. Okay, let's kind of look real quickly because my next one is a theme. I have the rates right here for the Accumulator and the Accelerator Plus. So let's pull that up real quickly. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Yes, you can. Okay, let's go up. I keep saying. Okay, here's the Accumulator Plus 7 and Accumulator Plus 10. Let me blow that up a little bit more for y'all. Okay, so here's the one with no charge, no charge. Here's the one with charge. Okay, notice that the no charge has a 1% fixed, but the charge does not. But notice right here, let's go to 1 year annual point to point for the S&P. 3.5, you want to pay an extra percentage, 6. For the 10, excuse me, 3.75, you pay a little bit extra, 6.25. So you can see a lot of these carriers are now going this route. Here comes the Barclays. It's only a 2-year, okay? And we're not huge fans of the 2-year because they have to wait 2 years. But what we learned from F&G is that first 2 years is the only time they have to wait. After that, they're going to see their rates. It's just not going to be credited until all those 2 years, but they're going to see it as time goes on. No charge 110 par rate, 150 if you want to pay a little extra. So again, if your client's willing to pay a little more, they have the potential to earn a little more, okay? And then if we come down here, that's not the Accumulator, Accelerator Plus. Here we go. Accelerator Plus 10, Accelerator Plus 14, same concept. Monthly 1.6, 3.25. This is the S&P annual point to point with a cap, 3.5 or 6.25. For the 14, 3.25 or the 6. Okay. So you can kind of see if they want higher potential, they gotta pay for it. That's basically how it works. And a lot of these carriers with their newer products, that's what they're rolling to now. Okay. Oh, don't do that. I just want to go back to my presentation. Here we go. Okay. Y'all can see my presentation here? Yes, you can. Okay. So any questions about, let me go back. F&G, new carrier, so I know you probably want to spend a little more time getting to know them. They do have webinars. If you're appointed, make sure you're paying attention to their emails so that way you can learn more about their annuities and even their life side. But any questions about F&G? Again, F&G's rates look pretty solid because they do a lot of in-house stuff with the relationships they have. So that's important to keep in mind, okay? So let's go to a theme. All right, they got the Ascent Pro 10 bonus, the agility, performance, max rate, SPIA, they've got it all. We're only going to talk about the top two, Ascent Pro 10 bonus and the agility. The Ascent Pro 10 bonus is one of my favorites. That is the product that allows you to take money in that first year. So we said we don't do a lot of SPIA. But if your client needs income right away, the Ascent Pro 10 bonus is the way to go, and you don't get a chargeback. That's a lot of times what happens is when your client touches their money in that first year, there's a chargeback on your behalf, because they usually say you need to keep it keep it in there for 1 year. But with the Ascent Pro 10 bonus, they can touch it. Okay, so it's age 35 to 80. It can be accessed whenever. That is one of the big benefits. But I'll tell you this, it also has one of the highest roll-up rates, depending on which option you select, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Single premium, though, minimum 5K. So most people that have a rollover are going to be able to fit within that 5K. The GLEAR is 1%, and it has 2 income rider options. You either go for guaranteed growth, which is option 1, or guaranteed growth plus interest. Okay, how does it work? Guaranteed growth is a very simple roll-up, okay? It's 10% for 10 years, 5% for the next 10 years, and that's it. Nothing else to it. But the guaranteed growth is, the option 2 with the interest credit, it does the same simple interest, but it's 5% for the, it's 7.5%. Rodolfo, you might, or you might, one of you might be able to tell me exactly what it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's less than 10 and 5. I think it's like 7.5 and then 5 or something like that, or 5 and then 2.5 or something like that. And I think Rodolfo looks like he's going to look it up here real quickly, and we'll verify that. But then you also get a 200% income-based bonus on the interest credits, if there are any. And that's accumulated value. So whatever your policy does, whatever your contract does with the Ascent Pro 10 bonus, whatever interest it makes, they're going to give you an extra 200%. Okay? So you either take the guaranteed growth, which is, again, the roll-up of 10%, 5%, or you take a little bit lower roll-up and you get more growth potential with the interest credit based bonus. Okay? So I'll tell you this, I've only selected option 1. I use this product for income. That's really what I want, because the income looks great on it. I know, Lupe, we did one with one of your clients. I know Sergio, he just did one with one of his clients. It performs really well. And with the ability to touch it within the first year, that's a huge added bonus. Okay, so if you have somebody that needs money in 6 months, this is where you got to go. You can't go anywhere else. Everywhere else, it's pretty much you got to wait for 1 year, okay? Now, the agility, the only reason I'm going to talk about it is for one thing, and you can kind of see it right there in all caps. You can see the ages. If it's a 7, it's 40 to 83, 10, 40 to 80, it's single premium, 5K, but the GLEAR is no charge. The only caveat is you must wait 7 or 10 years before accessing it, depending on if you get the Agility 7 or the Agility 10. Okay, but it's no charge, but you have to wait that long. Okay, and the GLEAR will start that year in year 7 or 10. That's the only difference. So if they want an income, but they don't want to pay for it, because again, with all the other GLEAR products, you have to pay for it, and pretty much all GLEAR products, you have to pay for it. This one, you don't. You just have to wait 7 or 10 years. So it doesn't give you as much flexibility as the others do, as when you want income, but again, you're not paying for it. All right. Any questions? Like I said, they have a SPIA, they have a MYGA. Their rates for the MYGA are not as appealing. So here's the Agility 7. The Agility 7 does all par rates. Okay. Here's the Ascent. It does also a lot of par rates, 2-year and 1-year caps. Here is the MYGA. Notice the highest is 7 years for under 100K, for over 100,000, 1.95. I mean, F&G doesn't put stipulations on how much money it needs to be if it's under 100K or over 100K, and it's 2.9. So you get an extra 1% for that same 7 years. So not as appealing, but they do have it. Okay. All right. Let me exit out of view. All right. Any questions? Okay. What I'll do is I'll find out the exact rate. It's like 7.5 and 2.5 or 5 and 2.5. It's just less. I just can't remember what the less is. Okay. Now let's finish. Rodolfo, you got something?
7.4.
7 and 4. Okay, thank you. Sorry, you were cutting out a little bit. 7 and 4. There you go. So you either get 10 and 5 or you get 7 and 4. but the 7 and 4 give you the extra 200% income bonus. All right, American National. We're almost done, and I am right on time. Okay, American National. They've got some solid annuities. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just they all annuitize when you want income, for the ones that want income. But the top ones are the Asia plus 7 and 10, Palladium MIGA, and the Palladium SPIA. The only thing I'm really going to talk about is the Asia, and I don't have a slide for it because I didn't want to go into all the details, but the Asia plus 7 and 10 does have some pretty solid rates. So we pull up the rates right here. This first one is the Asia, okay, the Anko Strategy Index Annuity, that's the Asia plus. If you go 10 years, the cap is 5 or 5.5. Their income rider 7.2. I mean, the rates are pretty competitive with F&G. And you don't have to pay extra to get it, right? You get 5. But again, the only thing is if they take an income, they have to annuitize it. So if you're going to do an Anko annuity, what you're going to use it for is someone who's not going to take an income or someone who wants growth. And then you move it into another one that does income. So for example, let's say Joe has a client that's 45, not going to take income for 15, 20 years, but they want to make as much money as possible. So we put them in the Asia Plus. We come 15 years later, and that client is now ready for income. At that point, I would take this Anko annuity and I'd roll it over, if they want income right away, to the Ascent Pro 10 bonus, assuming it's still here in 15 years. But I'd move it into that annuity so that way they can get the income right away. But they got, for 15 years, they got a higher rate of return. Okay? Or again, let's say Raj has a client that they said, I don't want income, I just want to pass this money on. Okay, fine. At that point, I'll put it in here and I'll just let that money grow. And then when they pass away, the beneficiary gets the amount. Okay? So you just have to be careful. If they take an income, they annuitize it, and that's it. So why would I use it? Someone who's younger who wants the growth, or someone who's not, maybe they're not younger, but they just want to pass the money on. They don't want to touch it. They just want to let it go, let it do its thing, and pass it on when they pass away. All right, so that would be why I would look at Anko. And Lupe, I know I've talked to your wife about it, about looking at Anko for that specific reason. Because again, what did National Life just do? They raised their minimum, and Connie's client wanted growth. Well, if this is the route they should go at that point, or now they can look at F&G. Now we've got some other options, but at that time, this was the route I told her to go. So that's kind of, that's their life close. Let's come back here. All right. That is all I've got.